If I knew exactly when all of you watching this video would pass away, it would be really easy to tell you when you should collect Social Security. But it's not that easy. You can collect any time from 62 all the way until age 70, and whether you collect at the right time or the wrong time, I don't really like saying wrong time because there's not a technical wrong time, other than it could be the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm going to explain to you when I would collect Social Security if I were you, using a real case study. Let's hop in. Now, all of these videos I make are using your comments. So if you like this video or you want more videos regarding tax strategy, estate, withdrawal, investment, you name it, please, I invite you to subscribe for more content. And if you don't like any of these topics, don't subscribe. You're not going to like me very much. So this episode was prompted by this comment here, which comes from Jason BRLA1. We're going to go through this in detail and walk through a case study so you can understand when you should collect Social Security. So this comment says, the content's great. Every episode I see makes me want to digest more, but I have a unique situation. So I have to watch many videos and merge them into trying to educate myself on how to make this retirement thing work. I'm currently 50, working until 55. I have a traditional 401k along with a Roth IRA and brokerage accounts. Almost thought I was going to start doing Roth 401k, but these videos have made me learn to take the tax deduction now and convert later. Ari, would love a video on someone leaving with the rule of 55, able to convert to Roth while living on brokerage, also holding on and not taking my pension and Social Security until I deplete most of my income. Is that a good or bad idea? So let's talk about it. Now, I have different videos. So if you want to look at the rule of 55, I have a video on that. If you want to look at Roth conversions, I have a video on that. Today is about Social Security, and I want you to know everything. So hopefully this is your complete guide. The first thing to know about Social Security is when you turn it on, you are essentially saying, I want to turn on income from Social Security, which I've been paying into for the last 30, 40 years of my life, and I want less pressure off my portfolio. I'll see most people turn on Social Security because they don't want to have to withdraw as much from their portfolio. They'd rather have another income source come help. Now that sounds good. But if it comes on and all of a sudden you live until you're 80, 90, 100, you might go, why didn't I delay? Because I would have gotten much more money and it would have actually been more helpful for the latter end of my retirement. Additionally, if something happens to you, your spouse gets that larger amount for the rest of their life. So rather than hear me talk theory for the next 20 minutes, let's just look at an example. Now, if you don't already know, my name is Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner. I'm the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president here at Root Financial Partners. If you want to play around with the same tool I'm going to show you right now, it's in the description of this episode. So let me paint the picture for you. This person, actually this couple, they have a home worth $650,000 and they have investments. Now, their investments total about $2.3 million, of which 1.6 is in a traditional 401k, 710,000 in a brokerage account, no Roth IRA, no tax-free money. Now, they are both 62. This is a real couple. I just changed their name for security reasons. And they are planning on working until 65 unless they determine they can retire earlier. They want to spend $8,000 a month in retirement, so $96,000 a year after taxes adjusted for inflation. Now, you can see there's a healthy income today of $340,000, so it's hard to walk away from that unless you know you're in a really good spot. So I'm going to explain why this is important. If they optimize their Social Security strategy, you can see they will have $423,000 more dollars at the end by optimizing when they should collect it. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. What does optimize mean? I'm going to show you. But what if they said, we're just going to turn it on as early as possible? What if we do that? Well, that number just dropped by over $100,000. Now it says $278,000. You could then click, I'm going to delay until age 70. And you'll see this is a number that can be customized. You can decide to take it at age 64. You can refresh that. You'll see the impact on your plan. This number will continue to fluctuate. And so this is what's called Social Security optimization. And what you want to understand for your strategy is what's going to put the most amount of money in your pocket. Now, I'm not going to walk through every single detail here and put you to sleep when it comes to Social Security, but I'm going to tell you what you need to know, and there's a few things I'll leave you with at the end. So here's the gist of it. The gist of it is if you turn on Social Security at 62, you're saying, I've paid into this thing for a long time. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but I just want to turn this on so I start getting income, so less is required for my portfolio. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but if you turn on your Social Security and let's assume you receive $2,000 a month at 62. When you turn that on, great. That's $2,000 a month. That's what you're receiving for the rest of your life. Now, if you were to wait and collect a year later, you get a 5.5% increase every year you delay until full retirement age, which is age 67. And then you get an 8% increase from 67 every year until 70. So 5.5% from 62 to 67, full retirement age for most of you in that range. And then from 67 to 70, it's 8%. So the question is for a lot of you, should I just turn on Social Security now? What if I take this money and I go invest it? I think I could do better than 5.5%. A lot of people do that, and there's a good reason to turn that on if your plan is to take income from Social Security and go invest it. But that's not what I see. What I see most of the time is people go, that sounds good. I can beat 5.5%. They take income from Social Security, and then what happens is they don't go invest it. They end up spending it. So don't trick yourself. Not always easy to be honest with ourselves, but Social Security is a big decision. You can see on my screen here, if they were to collect at the current strategy, which is saying, what if we turn it on at age 70 versus as early as possible, versus full retirement, age 70, optimal. Can we really start determining how do we make sure we just hit it right on the nail? Well, guess what? It depends. Now, you knew that was coming, but the reason it depends, and the reason I need to bring this up is I don't know if this couple still wants to keep working. Well, if they keep working, their Social Security benefits are reduced. I would say you probably don't want to turn on Social Security if you're going to keep working. Now, you can see here, if they decided to retire at 62, no more income, let's see their plan. There's certainly fewer dollars, 785,000 fewer dollars. But here's someone that has 2.3 today, and at the end, they're on track for 3.9 instead of 4.6. They're still more than okay. I would argue much more than okay. What if they spent more money as well? What if they spent $10,000 a month instead of $8,000 a month? Well, yeah, there's 2.3 million fewer dollars, but they're still okay. Now, this is an important tool. The reason this is important is if we switch this here when they turn on Social Security, that's going to impact the quality of their Social Security, and it's going to shift the overall optimal strategy. Because now what's happening, so watch that number, it said 2.3 million fewer. Now it says 2.5 million fewer. We just got 200,000 more dollars. Why? Well, we turned on Social Security, and when we turned it on, it's helping us more because there's no more income. They're retiring. So when you take Social Security, you want to use a software that's going to really help you optimize and make that decision. Don't just trust me. I love this stuff, but that's not enough of a reason. The other reason you might not want to turn it on immediately at age 62 is if something happens to you and you're collecting $2,000 a month, and let's assume your wife or husband has been home for the last 30 years taking care of the family. If you pass away, your partner, they are going to receive that amount for the rest of their life. So the issue with that is $2,000 a month. Well, if you're no longer here and they only receive $2,000 a month, they could have received, let's assume if you delayed from 2,000 and just using simple math here, but let's assume full retirement age, you could get 3,500 a month. And then at age 70, you could get 4,000. Well, if you could double your income for your spouse for the rest of their life by delaying for 8 years, that's powerful and it's worth considering. So let's look at a real example in more detail. So you can see this amount here on the far right, 2.6 million. This is the total income from the optimal Social Security filing strategy. So for them, you can see when is it going to be most optimal in this exact scenario based on their goals, based on their life expectancy. Lots of things go into this. If you believe that you and your spouse are going to live until 80 instead of 90, that changes things. If you plan On one of you passing away earlier than the other, that changes things. If you plan on both living till 100, changes things. The point here is them collecting as early as possible would bring in $1.9 million over the course of their retirement versus full retirement age at 2.5 and age 70 at 2.653. So for them, it actually makes sense to delay because they are planning on a very long life. Now, if that doesn't occur, it's not the end of the world. In fact, the whole point of Social Security is we don't know how long we're going to live. We just want to protect our retirement. So some people will collect as early as possible and go invest the rest and try to beat this number because they believe if they get the money, they can invest better. Other people go, yeah, but I want to optimize the strategy. A lot of this that we talk about, people go in circles on. And I see advisors have 2-hour sessions on Social Security and get so into the weeds of provisional income, which is how Social Security gets taxed. And there's a lot of important points there, but it doesn't hold the same weight as just determining when you should collect. And the easiest way to give you a thought process here is, do you know how long you're going to live? No. But are you a healthy person? Yeah. You're probably going to live really long. Do you want to protect your spouse? Yeah, you probably want to protect your spouse. So you probably want to delay because if something happens to you, you want them to be okay. And the reality is full retirement age for a lot of people is when I'll recommend the earliest they turn it on. Age 70 is giving more buffer if we anticipate one spouse plans on passing away early. If not, I really like between full retirement age and age 70 because it allows you to have enough time as a retiree to find out how much spending you really actually do versus saying on a piece of paper, we're going to spend $10,000 a month in retirement. You actually get to see it and live it and go, hey, we know how much we want to spend. At this point, our portfolio has grown to X degree. We now want to turn on Social Security so there's less pressure on our portfolio. The pro tip that I tell my clients is now, and I know this is a lot, stick with me here, now that Social Security is coming in, and let me give you an example. Let's assume that you want to spend $50,000 a month in retirement. 25,000. Actually, I'm going to use 100,000. You want to spend 100,000 in retirement after taxes. So you want to end up with 100,000 every year. And right now, that's fully being funded from your portfolio. If you turn on Social Security and you have an additional 50,000 as a couple coming in, well, that's way less pressure from your portfolio, which takes the weight off. And now it might grow a whole lot faster because you're not depleting it as quickly. So what we want to always ask ourselves is what's going to give us the most bang for our buck? Is it working longer? Is it spending less? Is it retiring early? Sometimes I'll tell my client, look, I'm mad at you, not legitimately angry, but upset because you told me you didn't love your job and right now you're working and it doesn't hold nearly as much weight as just diving into the investments and making sure those are optimized. And they're like, oh, I just didn't know the weight. Like I thought me working would help my portfolio way more. And I go, it helps. It's always going to help, but it doesn't help nearly as much as having a conversation as to your asset allocation. Other times it's the opposite. Early on in your career, it's not important to invest the most optimal way. Is it ideal? Yes, but it's more important to max out your 401k. If you're 20 years old and you want to get a 10% rate of return on $1,000, that's $100. That doesn't really help you. But if you were to max out your 401k with $20,000, that really helps you. If my eye looks different, I just had something go into my eye right now, everybody. So I was itching my eye and it feels really funky. But I'm going to end this video. Sorry about that. Hopefully, do not have to go to the doctor. I would be the first person to get injured recording a YouTube video. That would happen to me because I play soccer and I get injured a lot. Anyways, so for this video, to end it out, if you want to go play with the software and run your own projections, you can see that in the link, the description of this video. If you would like and you want to just start getting help on tax strategy and Social Security and total optimization, you can reach out to work with us here at Root. We love what we get to do. I'll see you guys next time.